Hi everybody, this is my leg workout from January 9th. It's hamstring dominant. You can see the full workout in the description. First up are stiff-legged deadlifts, and I did 3 sets. And during this video, I didn't put all the sets on here on this video, but this is the first set, and it was just the bar. It was 45 pounds, and I did 20 reps. And this is probably one of my favorite exercises for butt and hamstrings. And if you watch when I do these, when I go down, I kind of rock my weight back towards my heels. I let my butt go back and I rock my weight towards my heels. You can see my toes lift just a little bit. So my toes are light when I go back. When the bar is going down and my butt goes back, my toes are light, the weight's on my heel. I think that really puts the stretch in the hamstring and the glute. And as I come up, my weight kind of shifts back towards maybe the middle of my foot. And when I come up, I tuck my butt and squeeze my butt cheeks together. So on every rep, you want to, the second and third set I did 65 pounds, 15 reps. And every rep when you come up, you want to focus on squeezing your butt and getting that contraction in your glutes. So on the way down is more about the stretch and the stretch in the hamstring, and then on the way up, you're focusing on getting that squeeze in your glutes. And also you want to make sure you don't force these down too far. If you're feeling the back of your knees or your calves, to me, I think that's forcing the stretch too much, and you don't really need to go that deep. You need to stay arched up, keep your back flat, keep your chin up and your chest up. And if you rock back into it, you'll get a really good stretch in your hamstrings and butt and not have to go so deep. And next up, lying leg curls. 3 sets. First set, I did 20 reps, and I kind of stayed arched up a little bit on this first set and went lighter and just really focused on pulling the weight up with my hamstring and getting a good squeeze. And when you're doing leg curls with lighter weights especially, you want to really try to focus on keeping your hips down into the pad so you're not lifting your butt up too much. You shouldn't really feel lower back when you're doing these. You want to try to think of keeping your core engaged. So, kind of keeping, pulling your belly button to your spine, kind of is what you want to think of, a neutral spine when you get on there, and use that to stabilize yourself so you're not feeling your lower back. Second and third set, I did 40 pounds and I did 8 reps, so I went heavier. And on this particular machine, a 10-pound jump is like a big difference. So I did as many as I could. This was a lot harder. I still tried to keep my butt down, but usually as you go heavier and you're straining a little bit more, your hips are going to come up a little bit, but you still want to focus on keeping your core engaged and not letting your back try to help you undo the weight. So if you're feeling your lower back, sometimes it's because maybe the weight's too heavy or you don't really have your core engaged. And this is the third set. This is the last set I did, and it was 8 reps again. It was a little bit harder this time around to get to 8 than it was the first time. And that was it for those. Next up, seated hamstring curl. And I only am going to show one set here because the angle was really bad. This is before I started using my tripod, so I didn't realize that the whole machine was going to hide me. But with this machine, and you can't really tell from this angle, you can cheat on this one too when you're pushing down. If you start to push too much with your arms and let your back come away from the pad, I like to use my hands and really push my lower back into the pad, so I'm using all hamstring and not like my glutes and lower back. So I like to just really push my lower back up against the pad and lock myself in and really focus on just pulling from my hamstrings and nothing else. So you can stabilize yourself with your own hands and make it a lot more effective. Next up is Glute Machine. This is one of my favorite glute machines I think that I've ever tried. And this little pad right here flips around, so you can do one side and then you do the other. And I did 4 sets back and forth non-stop. So as soon as I got done with my right side, I switched and went to my left side and then went right back to my right side. And you can kind of tell in this video here, this clip, I have my heel off the ground. I'm kind of on my tiptoe. And that just feels better for me. I think it's probably because of my height. It just raises me up just a little bit more. And you want to put your heel on this little pad here and focus on kicking back with your heel, and it really puts it good in your glutes. You can also do this with a cable machine, and I have it somewhere in my videos under, I think, Romeo and Juliet's, where you do kickbacks. And these would be what I would call Romeos, because it reminds me of my horse Romeo. He likes to kick sometimes. So, but you would attach the cable attachment around your ankle and kind of lean over and use that same type of movement where you're thinking of kicking your heel back. So not really your whole foot or not your toe. Think of kicking back with your heel to squeeze your glute. And that works really good with a cable machine too. But this is one of the first glute machines that I found that I really got a good feel from it. I really like this one. And next up, our seated leg press machine. I did 3 sets, and I did a wide stance, and I think I'm only going to show 1 set here. This machine doesn't go in close enough for me, so I had to put a pad behind me. And for something like this, I kind of always tease and say, if it's really hard to get into, then you know you're close enough. Because if it's too easy to get into, you're not going to get enough stretch on the way down. So I needed to add a pad to make sure I got a good stretch. Because the deeper you can go in any type of movement like this for your legs, the more you're going to bring in your butt and hamstrings. And so here I have a wide stance. I think my heels are a little bit wider than shoulder width, and I have my toes turned out and my knees are staying over my toes. So anytime you do any type of leg press or squat, wherever your toes are pointed, you want to make sure your knees go in that same direction. So if your toes are pointed a little bit straighter in, your knees need to go in that direction. If your toes are pointed out, your knees have to go in the same direction as your toes. That way it doesn't, you're not twisting your knee joints. So in this particular stance right here, when I go down, my knees are out. When you go to push up, you really need to think about keeping your knees pushed out, because once they get tired, once your legs get tired, a lot of times your knees are going to want to come in when you're pushing off the bottom. So make sure your knees stay out the whole movement. In here, I'm stretching, and people have asked me about stretching before. I like to stretch when a muscle feels tight, just to kind of loosen it up a little bit. So here I only did 2 sets of this, so I'm just using a different stance, and this is a close stance. So I have my feet all the way together, and as I go down and do the movement, I keep my knees together too. So my knees are touching and my feet are touching. And I think I did 12 on each one of these sets. And again, the deeper you go, the more it's going to hit your butt. With a closer stance, usually hits a little bit more of the outer quad, and If you're really thinking of pushing off the bottom with your glutes, you're going to feel your glutes too. The wider stance with your toes turned out, and especially, like I said, when you're coming off the bottom, if you're thinking of keeping your knees pushed out as you push up, you're going to feel inner thigh a lot on that one. So I did 3 sets of the wide stance and just 2 sets here. So next up, leg extensions, and I did 21s, 2 sets of 21s. And first time doing these here at this gym, so first one was a little bit light. It was 25 pounds, but it was still good. The first 7 off the bottom here were a little bit easy. Once I got to the top though, they started burning a little bit. And so 21s are 7 off the bottom, 7 off the top, and then 7 full reps. By the time I did the top ones and then started in the full ones, they were burning. The 25 pounds felt heavier. And I actually did 2 sets of these just because I wanted to get a little bit better feel out of the next set. So I went up to 30 pounds on the next set. But this one did burn. Don't get me wrong, it burned. It was just a little easier in the beginning. So the second set here, I went up to 30 pounds and did the same thing. 7 off the bottom, 7 off the top, and then 7 full ones. And the 7 off the bottom, those weren't that bad. I could even talk during it. That must mean it wasn't hard enough. I think next time I might do the top ones first. Or another thing that I did with that I've been doing with some of my other things are you do the full ones first, and then the bottom ones, then the top ones, or vice versa, the top ones, then the bottom ones, and then the full ones again. That works really good, so I might try that next time. But by the time I got to the full ones again, they were burning really bad. This was a lot more of a burn here on this set. So I just did 2 of those and trying to rub the burn away. And this is the last thing here. I did calf raises on this is called a linear hack squat. And this is a bad angle too. I did 3 sets, and this one here, you can tell I'm going up and I'm kind of pushing my knees out. I'm pushing my feet kind of to the outside. That kind of hits the outer part of your calf. So the first set was the inner part. This was the second set, and I was trying to hit the outer head of the calf. And this last set here, I just did straight. And usually when I do my calves, I do a slight bend in my knee, and I have some other videos on here with some of my calf tips. And I did 3 sets, and these last 2 sets, they had some burns in them because I couldn't get them all the way up. So here are the burns right here. They're just shorter right off the bottom. I think the calf burn is like the worst burn that there is. It's like it kind of takes your breath away. And so when you get done with everything, especially calves, make sure you stretch. And that was my workout. I hope you guys like it. Give me a thumbs up if you do. Share it if you do. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day. Bye-bye.